I spent my childhood working with CAMS, where I was diagnosed with depression, OCD and anxiety. I stopped working with them when I was 18, and then in recent years I started to really struggle again. So I went back and they, on top of my previous diagnoses, they added BPD, which they helped me with for a while, and during that help they noticed there was something more, and that's when they gave me the CPTSD diagnosis.
When you give someone a diagnosis, it's like categorizing them, putting them in a box, and they might start thinking, okay, I have borderline personality disorder. That's why, you know, I'm going through this. Again, it might re-trigger, it's my fault. And what's needed, I guess, is not a diagnosis, it's more a relationship model.
I was adopted as a child, really young. I was 3, and I had a lot of sexual and physical abuse with my birth family, as well as neglect. And then when I was adopted and it should have been safe, I was then physically, emotionally and neglected by my adoptive mother until I was 13.
CPTSD definitely is about a long-term exposure to abusive behavior coming from an attachment figure, or, you know, parents. It can be a group of people, and the main difference between the two is in PTSD the bad is obvious. There's an obvious bad, someone quite violent, you know, you don't really internalize what's going on. There's a good, there's a bad. In CPTSD, the bad comes from people who are supposed to be good. So what happens to people is people usually end up internalizing the bad and experiencing what is called toxic shame or guilt, and that differs PTSD from CPTSD.
Some days are better than others. The days I really struggle, I suffer with quite bad dissociation. So I'm here, like, so I am sat there and I'm like physically here, but it's like I'm not in my body.
If you think about CPTSD, it's like just being out there in the world is like a emotional war zone.
I get very angry very quickly on my bad days. I also get extremely low, like, and nothing can bring me out of that except like time. Like, I have to just give myself time.
CPTSD is a process, really. It's a lifelong practice of trust and self-compassion.
I try as much as I can to have it not affect parenthood, but it does. Like, day to day I feel intense like guilt for I get intense feelings of I am not good enough for them, even if I've had a great day. And then that brings along the guilt that I even had them in the first place when I'm such a mess.
In CPTSD, there is this thing called emotional flashbacks, which is different. There is no visual element to it because it's like a repetitive network of memories. And what happens is something triggers the trauma, and the person ends up feeling all the feelings but cannot really associate it with the trauma. And usually the adaptive child gets triggered and starts seeing everything from that helpless, hopeless, negative perspective.
Not a lot helps. Talking though, like having a few people there that understand really does help.